And why do you think investors are so worried about this frozen bank deposit?
Well, essentially, it's concern, of course, that Evergrande's liquidity situation, its debt situation is deteriorating. I mean, interestingly, typically this is not really something that investors would watch that closely. So I think it really speaks to the level of scrutiny that Evergrande is under, along with its kind of concern around its commercial bills and how it's reducing its debt in other forms of ways on the balance sheet.
Now, what do you think the government is expected to do then? What role is it going to play when it comes to Evergrande? And could that be some kind of turning point?
I think potentially, yes. Ultimately, of course, that's what investors want to see. Investors want to see any sign that the government is going to step in and try and help Evergrande. And certainly when we found out about that meeting between Hui and some government officials, the bonds did see a jump. I would say I think this time it's going to take something more. When we're seeing the 2025, it's one of the most liquid bonds in all of China's dollar bond market. It's at 57. Lower than when we had that incredible sell-off in March. So really, there is a lot of pressure that Evergrande is facing. And it does look like, and investors are seeing that this time around, it is a very different type of crisis that Evergrande is facing.
We're expecting, of course, an announcement on the special dividend. Is that something that could turn around fortunes a little bit?
Absolutely. That's something that people are sort of certainly watching very, very closely. There's sort of speculation on whether it's going to be in the form of a cash or shares. I think if we see it as cash, of course, that for creditors will be quite a sort of negative sign. But it could provide a boost. But longer term, I think it's going to take something more significant.